Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the Noon News from Montana's news leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your MTN Statewide News on this Memorial Day. I'm Janelle Slade. Well, today we remember those who have served and sacrificed for our freedoms. Some people will gather today. Others will choose to honor our veterans from afar in the midst of this current pandemic. Well, those ceremonies have begun across our communities, state, and the country. About 20 volunteers gathered over the weekend to place American flags at the Montana State Veterans Cemetery. Normally, about 10 volunteers gather and take about 2 hours to flag the cemetery. Now, this year, more turned out to move things along so families could attend the flagging to honor their veterans safely.
My dad and my brother and my son and my grandson are all military, and it's just a way to honor them and just feel proud of what they do. They're real proud of their service, all of them, doing their duty and help protect us, yes. And so it's just my little part to help doing that.
Virtual ceremonies started this morning and will run throughout the day. Due to the pandemic, Montana State Veteran Cemeteries are unable to host in-person ceremonies, but the division will continue to honor our veterans virtually. A link to the Montana Veterans Affairs Division ceremony can be viewed on YouTube or Facebook. Now, one example of local service looking quite a bit different this year in Montana. In Laurel over the weekend, the Friends of the Yellowstone National Cemetery shot a video ceremony that can be seen on the Yellowstone National Cemetery Facebook page. Speakers for the event include Major General Matthew Quinn and Billings Mayor Bill Cole. Well, it's a similar situation at Mount View Cemetery in Billings. A ceremony was recorded and will be available on the City of Billings website today. Over the weekend, American Legion Post 4 put flags on all the veterans' graves. Well, it's now time to check in on the weather scene. After a very wet weekend, it's actually really nice to see the sun today, Ed, so thank you.
You're welcome for what I had to do with it. I'll take a little bit of credit when I can. Let's go ahead and take a look and see how things are going to start to shape up for us. There's an 80% chance of warmer than average temperatures across much of southern Montana and northern Wyoming as we start getting in towards the end of the month and into the first part of next week. And in fact, we could even say some record high temperatures. Much of the country will be warmer than average and also leaning a little bit drier than average, especially across the northern portion of the country with the Pacific Northwest and the southern portion of the country running a little bit wetter. That trend towards drier is only modest. We'll show you why with the forecast details coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Ed. Well, today marks the 4th straight day in a row. No new confirmed COVID-19 cases, according to state health officials. Just 22 people have the coronavirus in the Treasure State today. That's the lowest number of active cases in the country. Well, it's a different story in Wyoming. Yesterday alone, state health officials reported 23 positive test results. Almost half of the new cases were reported in Washakie County, where a nursing home recently experienced an outbreak among patients and the staff. Now, there's no word if any of the latest positive tests are related to that facility. A total of 51 people are actively infected with COVID-19 in Wyoming this noon. Well, the COVID-19 pandemic is posing new challenges to our U.S. veterans, especially those battling mental health issues. CBS's Naomi Rusham has more.
On a farm in rural Virginia, United States Navy veteran Danique Massengill and her team train service dogs for veterans.
We custom train the specific triggers for each veteran.
The program, Leashes of Valor, aims to help veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder, something Danique struggles with as well.
For me, it took a long time to get all the pieces into place. It was rough. And there's still crappy days, honestly. But that never goes away. You just kind of learn how to ride the wave better.
But Leashes of Valor had to put their program on hold because of the coronavirus pandemic.
We've suspended mental health treatment in a way for people that don't know when this tool they're waiting for is going to be available to them.
A new Syracuse University Military Times poll of more than 4,000 veterans and active service members finds many are worried about the pandemic. They consider COVID-19 a severe threat to public health, the economy, their community, and family.
What those threats will be and how they'll play out over the next 3 months or even beyond.
Army veteran Nick Armstrong authored the report.
Things like a job loss of financial security, in being disconnected and socially isolated. These are all risk factors that only compound and accumulate, in terms of someone's mental health.
Danique is concerned about the potential setbacks for her fellow veterans.
People aren't looking for a handout. They're really just trying to be a part of something, and this currently is preventing them of being a part of something.
She's hoping to be able to do her part soon, getting more service dogs to veterans once restrictions are lifted. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Syracuse University plans to continue polling veterans throughout the pandemic to try to ensure they get the resources they need. Now, the deadline to get discounted insurance meant for laid-off workers is closing in. The fallback coverage under the Affordable Care Act opened a 60-day special enrollment period at the end of the month. The taxpayer-subsidized health insurance is meant to provide low-cost coverage to people who've lost their jobs, and for some, it comes at no cost. To apply, you can go to healthcare.gov. Well, Little Shell tribe leaders say they know what they want to do with $25 million they received in federal coronavirus relief funding. They want to use it for an urgent care clinic in Great Falls. According to Chairman Gerald Gray, the funding offers an opportunity to jumpstart this much-needed option for the tribe. Right now, the closest Indian Health Service locations are in Box Elder or in Browning. Well, no outfit is complete without a mask these days, but the masks that are meant to keep people safe have added barriers for the deaf and hard of hearing communities. And now the deaf and blind schools in Great Falls are learning how to adapt. Now, one teacher at the Montana School for the Deaf and Blind explains the communication challenges.
So the masks, I feel pretty stuck. I feel like I'm totally missing out on what's going on with the masks. It's really hard for me. If I'm having a mask too, then it's hard for other people to understand too, because you're missing the part of the language that's in the facial expressions and on the face. And so you end up having to gesture more, and it's less language and more pantomiming and stuff in it. But I guess this is like the new normal. Hopefully not forever.
Now, the school in Great Falls is set to open back up in the fall. Well, state and county authorities responded to a call this morning at Four Corners of a hit-and-run crash at a coffee stand, and there was someone inside. The pickup truck was hauling a horse trailer. It ended up striking the Espresso To Go stand at Four Corners and caused a brief electrical fire near the entrance. No word on the employee at this hour. The driver left the scene and headed east toward Bozeman. Montana Highway Patrol eventually found the truck and is now performing a crash and DUI investigation. Well, we have more ahead on your new news, including how American Legion Post 42 in Townsend is celebrating this Memorial Day. The time now is 12:08, but first, Ed McIntosh is in next with your statewide weather forecast.